Hey everybody, it's Danielle Moon with Women in Power, and today I have the America's sweetheart of Power Platform, Suzy Agi. I'm so excited to have you here, and I know I have too much fun with that, but thank you for joining me today.
Absolute pleasure. I love talking to you and I love Women in Power. So thank you for inviting me.
No, this is going to be a fun call. So with some of these episodes, one of the first things I always like to do is ask first for you to introduce yourself as far as what you do in the Microsoft space and within the Power Platform side.
Absolutely. So Suzy Agi, I've been with Microsoft for about 7 years, and I have a unique role called a Principal Global Black Belt role, and it has morphed. It's really a role that isn't well defined, but over the past couple of years, I think I've hopefully better defined what that is. And so it's really about scaling the impact of sales across like many different aspects. So if you think about it, there's programs, there's events, and looking at kind of one-to-many of how we can impact our customers' ability to better evaluate the platform, adopt and scale the platform, how I can help our field sellers really take the lessons learned that we're seeing work in one area and hopefully learn from those and scale those across the board, providing insights back into marketing and engineering on what's working, what's resonating, and then help with some of the go-to-market messaging and strategy. A little bit of licensing here and there of like what's working, what's not, and trying to troubleshoot. And then there's this whole other area of kind of big, bad, ugly, scary, hairy types of problems where if we see something like that, like that's where I do get my hands dirty and try and see, okay, what can we do to scale this across? First of all, identify what that is, address it, and then how can we scale that across first for the Americas and then sometimes on a global aspect. So I wear many different types of hats, but it's a lot of fun. And I love working with customers, love working with you, Danielle. And I am so excited about Women in Power and just the growth and the scale that it has had since our initial conversation about a year and a half ago.
I know. And so for those of you who don't know, Suzy was actually in the room where this whole idea originated from and was one of the first people to be like, yes, let's go.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people don't understand with the global black belt side of it, you guys are, one, you're like hyperactive ninjas, right? Because you also have the cool name. And then it's like Swiss Army knife comes to mind as well as everything in the kitchen sink. It's like you won't not do everything. You do it all and you do it so well, which is just amazing to see and be part of, because I know that, and you're always dressed to the nines. Anybody who knows Suzy knows this, and that's something that is just absolutely amazing. When we think about the Power Platform space, what is your origin story? How did you arrive here at this time?
Yeah, and it's interesting. So I was actually pulled into Microsoft to be on, it used to be a hypo team, high potential accounts. And I came in to work on that team and focus in on New York City, New York Metro accounts. And at the time, they wanted me to focus on Dynamics. And so I had I had worked with IBM, I worked at IBM. I had worked there on their Unica platform, customer campaign management. I then worked for a couple of years at Adobe. So I think they were looking for, okay, bring that experience and bring that expertise, because I'd actually partnered with Microsoft when I was at Adobe because we had that common enemy in Salesforce. So I think that's why they hired me in to Microsoft. And so at the end, but coming in fresh and from the outside, like I was supposed to be the expert on this hypo team for Dynamics. And I was like, I'm not bringing that. And so I definitely worked well with the New York team. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of success. But at the same time, I was like, I just haven't found my niche. And Power at that time just was starting to develop. And it was nuanced, it was small, and professional services was in the New York metro area or in the Northeast region. And so I started to get my hands dirty on a couple deals. I won't mention by my name, but a couple accounts in the professional services area where I'm like, okay, there's something here that this is new. It kind of goes back to my roots. When I first joined IBM, I sold Visual Age Studio, like development code way long ago. But it made sense. And I'm like, I feel like there's something here. And at the time, I feel like no one else was really thinking and seeing this. And I was like, I swear there's something here. But then fast forward, like this was before COVID. And then when COVID hit and the pandemic and everything shut down, it was like almost this magic switch almost went on where people were like, aha, like I now get the value prop. And at that time, there were so many things that was still very new in just every area of how we were marketing our messaging, our pricing, then we hit grandfathering. It's like there were so many things. We had sellers who weren't up to date on like the message that they were supposed to be giving. There were a lot of challenges. And so I kind of saw a unique niche where I'm like, oh, I could pull all of this together and try and help. And that's when we had some of our internal tools where we started just to create communities with here's a team chat. And then, every week we got together and Dave Milton and I would go through. And at the time, it was Patrick and then it was Mark Samuels and kind of a rotating list of global black belts, but they were great partners. And we would sit on like a hot seat call where it's like, ask me any question in front of everyone, where you learn really fast when that happens, because if you don't know the answer, you find out really, really fast and you're back channeling, while the call is going on. So that was kind of how I came into Power. And I still feel there's so much more growth that we have, especially with AI and where we're heading and morphing and pulling some of these things closer together. So it's an exciting time.
It is. And I love the fact that every person that I've interviewed, like nobody has the same origin story.
Yeah.
Like it's all so diverse in that space. What would you say? I mean, because you have a unique perspective, I think, with doing the Power Platform tours and being able to see customers that are not just in one industry vertical, it's just across the board. Mm-hmm. What are some of your favorite trends that you're seeing right now when it comes to Power Platform and how we're kind of morphing into even this more AI-centric mindset?
Yeah, it is exciting. I think one of the things that we've nailed home, hopefully, in the Power Platform tour is that this is an opportunity to really change the way customers evaluate software. So if you think about traditionally, and I've sold software for years, decades, customers usually went in and like, okay, give me some small project. I want to do a POC. I want to test out how we leverage the technology. And that has worked for decades. It's like, okay, it's very small, it's low risk.
Waterfall centric.
Exactly. And then they can slowly grow over time. And what we've shared in the Power Platform tour is that gets flipped on its head. With AI, the folks who are setting themselves up for success, you need to think big. Like, what's your biggest, hairiest problem that, if you put AI and agents to work in your business, this is the impact. And I think it's almost like when you're standing up in the room and you say that to people and you have a slide and like, it's almost like light bulbs go off and like you can see people's eyes like, didn't think about that. And I think that's one of the most exciting pieces. And that's probably one of the biggest topics where afterwards, when we have the happy hours from partners, that thank you to our partners who have graciously sponsored those, that's like one of the talking points where it's like, didn't think about that, but you're right. Like, this is how we make our mark. And I think that's also where low code can help, because you can think big, but it enables you to fail fast if you need to, but leverage those tools to build this quickly, test it, build it, and continue to advance and scale as you go in a protected, secure, you name it, governed type of platform.
Do you think that having where we really push, I mean, those who get it in the Power Platform space, do you think that customers are finally coming to this like failure is a success culture because of how fast we're iterating now?
I think it's more widely acceptable. I think hopefully we've democratized it so much where, you can test it, just pull it up. You have the capability to just build your own agent. See if it works. Okay, if it doesn't work, refine it. I remember the first time I used ChatGPT before I used Copilot, I think, but using ChatGPT, I was like, okay, I'm going to write a prompt. Like, what is that? And it wasn't quite what I wanted, and I refined it, and then I refined it again and refined it. Like, slowly, it's like, I might not have to get it perfect on the first try, but it's not scary anymore to continue to refine and give it direction. And I think customers leveraging the Power Platform to do that, see, okay, this isn't so scary. And now English is the new programming language, where that just democratizes AI innovation across the board.
So I love that you brought up the ChatGPT and the Copilot prompting. Yes. What has been your favorite trend that you have seen, I guess, like on LinkedIn, where, I feel like Microsoft's, it's a bunch of nerds getting together and we laugh at each other and everything, but like, what would be one of your favorite ones that you've seen?
The favorite like viral trend that I've seen, definitely, and I did it yesterday, is creating my own action figure. Like, I still think that was awesome. Of course, that was quickly followed down. Muppets are like all the rage. And of course, like I like made fun of it for like, I think 30 seconds. And then I opened it up and I was like, okay, I do need to create my own Muppet. Right. I just think it's amazing. I think also the amount of publicity and the social posting that we're trying to do with the tour, it'll happen with Power Platform Conference as well, leveraging Copilot to be able to quickly build an image, or quickly you have an idea and it's like you can put it on paper and it helps you. Here's your story that you can post to LinkedIn. Here's the picture in less than 5 minutes. Here it is. I did that with when we announced the multi-agent orchestration, where I had all the SAP and Salesforce and then the Adobe agent and everyone like walking hand in hand. And like I had a quick idea, and within less than 5 minutes, like here's your post. And it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think we as a company have gotten a lot more social. Like I think that there used to be a little bit more of a buttoned up, approach of like, oh, that's somebody else's game. And I feel like Microsoft is like, no, we want to have some fun with this. Let's do this. But you brought up the Power Platform Conference. Do you think that that's also aiding into, I recently had kind of joked like, there's such an interesting culture and a fun culture around Power Platform. And like, once you get it, you get it. Do you think that's also happening because of Power Platform conferences? We've got the European one coming up next month, and then of course the big one in Vegas in October.
I see it every year. Every year I feel like just the energy gets up leveled. It's amazing to be like, oh, there's no way we can top it. And then yep, here it is. Yeah. And it's that energy where you just to see people unlocking different ideas. You can watch it as you're walking through the hallway. You can watch conversations. Like, I mean, there are people who are getting Power Platform tattoos. I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying that's an option. And like to watch, like, wow, people are so passionate about that. And just seeing the excitement. I don't think I've ever been in a product line where I've seen that amount of commitment and passion around a product.
Yeah, even license plates. I've seen license plates with the Power Platform. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's its own thing. So coming back to, because I mean, when I think of what you do, and it's so many things, but I love the work that you've done around the Power Platform tours as well, because not everybody can make it to the conferences. And so by doing these tours, I think you're getting these like nice micro of what the conference can do and build and everything. And during that, one of the cool things that you do is the envisioning session. And I know that's something that you kind of like plant throughout the day. What are some of maybe the largest amount of ideas somebody's had during one of those? Because this is, a day's event, and throughout it, you were kind of prompting people of like, think of a use case, think of a need here. What's the highest number you've seen come out of that?
Yeah, I think and we do it rapid fire too. Like Tracy Kelly, who I have learned a great deal from, she shared a lot of just her best practices, and we took that and adapted it for the tour. So thank you, Tracy. But it's rapid fire. And so I think within a little bit longer session, I think the number one team, I think, had 29 different use cases. And I think that attributes though, like where we're trying to get teams of people that are attending the Power Platform Tour. So it's not just one or two individuals. It's like bring your team, like have an outing. We make it fun. We have it sponsored. We have nice lunch, fun happy hour afterwards. But as part of that envisioning session, having those cross-functional teams start to talk and compare notes on here's the challenge, but you see it from different perspectives. 29 has been the record so far. Hopefully we'll top that in the fall.
And that's exciting too, because I mean, I think we were worried that we wouldn't get enough people excited to do this, and now I have so many customers who are like, when's the next one that's going to be close to me so I can attend that? Like, oh, I won't be able to make the conference, but I know I can get the tour, as a day trip type of style thing. So I think that's definitely one of the big things. So you also get exposed to a lot of amazing individuals out there building things. Can you think of one of the apps or co-pilots that someone has built recently that was just kind of one of those like, wow, like we're really pushing the envelope here?
Question. I'm so bound to the customer stories that I tell all the time. I'm trying to think. The one that let me share this one. The one that always comes up, and I think we need to do something about this. The one that has come up in every single one of the sessions that we've had, I'll share that one, is that the onboarding challenge. It's so funny. Came up in the first one, didn't think much about it. Every session that we have had, there's been someone who's had some onboarding challenge, and it just seems like across the board, that is such a whole process that is ripe for leverage agents to be able to do the multiple different steps. You can now pull these together through orchestration. So I'm curious if like this will be something that we actually see in future tour stops, that someone's done it, because it's something that just seems to resonate across the board. There's been a lot of excitement around just learning and knowledge sharing. I think now that you mention it, there was a individual, or actually a team in New York when we did the tour stop, where They were a hospital, and they took it to the next level where they didn't just build or ideate around one agent. It was they had multiple agents running like, here's the hospital of the future. And I don't know how they did it because
Wow.
it was a time box thing, and they had like something like, I don't know, 10 different agents doing all these different types of things. And we're going to have and they were all, this was before we had announced that these things were going to be interconnected. But it was
Yeah.
amazing to see just here's where we want to go, and that written down on paper. And that was where the ATS that was sitting with him, he's like, oh my God, I have my roadmap for the next 2 years of what this customer wants to do. So there's benefit, I think, of our Microsoft team and our partners being in the room when those conversations and those ideations happen. So they can get a first row or a front row seat to watching that process, and also helping guiding and suggesting, okay, here's how you prioritize.
Yeah, I think that's part of the excitement and the magic, is that you don't know what you don't know until you
Yeah.
just get it from a different lens. And even when we were in Atlanta, we had, I don't know, like 12 different industries represented, in there, but the conversation started easily crossing over, because at the end of the day, to your point, everybody has HR, everybody
Yes.
has a finance team, like there's accountants there, like there's some core pieces that, yes, you'll have nuances, but I think this is also a new way that people are realizing, I don't have to be a unicorn. I mean, most customers, don't get me wrong, every customer is a unicorn. You're adorable and cute, you little unicorns, but like they all have the same stripes or whatever the case is, like
Yeah.
where it comes to this stuff. So I think that's also kind of one of those aha moments that you get to see when you have such a cross collaboration of different individuals.
Absolutely. That is the benefit of the role. I have that from the customer standpoint in the multiple industries, but I also have it from our field sellers too, just like different perspectives and different things, and
Yeah.
what's working, which is great to be able to scale. Or, yep, there's a challenge and it's not just over here, it's across the field. Okay, then let's fix this.
I dare say that the passion of a power platform seller is pretty much unmatched from what I can see in Microsoft space, personally speaking on that one. But I think some of the craziest conversations we've had is when you put a bunch of power sellers into a room and you start
Yeah.
getting us talking about licensing or anything like that. You're going to
Yeah.
see passion peak up real quick. So switching back over to women in power, because you were in the room that day that this like idea kind of came together. What did you think that we were maybe going to be moving towards versus like where we are now, right? We're a year and a couple months.
Yeah. I had no idea that this would morph into what you have created. Like, I don't think I could have even envisioned it, of what it is. We talk about it and advertise it in every single tour stop, and we
I know, and
will
I love that for, thank you.
Yeah, well, my pleasure. But, and I think the other thing, same thing, like standing in the front of the room, you got a different perspective, but like to watch I won't cry, but to watch men like take that picture and be like, I'm taking this back to my team. Like, I'm an ally. It's not just women taking a snapshot of the QR code. It's like the entire room being like, this is important and I'm taking that back. And it just warms my heart, because that is exactly what we wanted to create. This wasn't an exclusive, like, oh, you're only female type of, women in power. This is a community for everyone. So I can't, going back to that fab meeting in January when we had that initial discussion a year and 6 months ago. It's amazing to see the progress, because I think when you said, I was like, oh yeah, yes, absolutely, we should do this. We should have a community, yes, we should absolutely do networking, and we should share best practices. And it has just, you've taken it, you've expanded it with partners, and there's so many passionate people who have taken this to the next level, and it's exciting to see. And this is only in its infancy. I feel like there's so much more potential to have it grow and expand and change women's lives, really, especially as people are looking to see what they can do maybe in a second or third career, and seeing how the power platform is changing. But this whole democratizing innovation and democratizing being able to build agents, I think there's so much more potential to go.
Yeah, I know. And it is. It's one of those things where, and I joke now, but even in that room, I thought, oh, if I get 100 people to join, I think with Dave, and I was like, oh, if I get like 100 people to join the LinkedIn thing, like how exciting. And now we're 1,400 plus in the community, 1,100 plus in our official like news page or whatever. So yes, that's to me just still a very surreal feeling to know there's that many people who are hungry for it. And to your point, I get so many men that are reaching out saying like, how do I get to be part of this? I have a daughter. Well, my sister's in college right now. She needs to, it's more of a personalized piece that I don't think we've had as a forefront moment before. So I think that's
I
also
agree.
one of our big wins out of all this, is just kind of bringing it to the attention and then seeing action out of it. No, it's the community and the leadership around me. Believe me, I'm just a chaos gremlin, and I've got just the best leadership team that's actually bringing so much of this to light. And y'all have been on the tour, just making sure that it's always represented, I think has also been one of the huge things to, again, just message it and get people excited about it. So no, thank you for that.
Me too.
So one of the questions I always like to ask too is, if you were to describe your role, and I think I knew the answer, but I always like to ask, would you say you're functional, technical, or both?
I would say more functional probably than technical. Yeah, if I had to.
Yeah. And I think that's really important too, because I think a lot of people get really wrapped around the axle that in order to be part of the Power Platform space, they have to be fully technical. Don't get me wrong, we love the technical side. We need that technical space in there, but I love that you kind of represent more of that functional person who understands the business acumen and the messaging, because if we develop really cool stuff but we can't message it, no one's going to be excited about it. What key parts do you think someone would need to be able to rise up to a level that you're at? Like, what would you say are some of the attributes that really have made you stand out to get to your position?
I think one, your creativity. I think the ability, and it takes a little bit, but like not being afraid to fail. I mean, there have been some public things and some risks that I've taken, which it could have gone one of two ways. Like the first time Laura Martelli and I sat in a room and said, "Oh, let's do an executive track for the Power Platform Conference." And she's like, here's the budget. We got it. And it was like, okay, like, let's do it. Like that could have gone extremely poorly. And luckily it went completely well, but things like that. Things like, okay, let's do a co-pilot studio tour. Like, yep, I'm going to get budget. I got the budget. Okay, like, how are we going to do this? Even some of the risks that we took is minor, is like, we're going to do an envisioning workshop as part of the Power Platform tour this year. No one really wants to do a workshop at the end of a 6-hour day. But I think those things definitely, you need that ability to be like, I'm not afraid to fail, but I'm going to take ownership of it. So I think that's those characteristics are key. To just make sure that you're taking risks, you're thinking of the business. I think the other thing is just an ability to develop a network. I mean, a lot of this stuff would not get done without having engineering resources, marketing resources, go-to-market resources, leadership. Like you need to develop that network. It takes some time. But I think, and develop the trust that I think, they have the trust in me, like, okay, it's going to get done. And I think that has helped to then do more and more types of projects. And I've continued to build my presentation skills. It's just one of those that I think you're always, no matter where you are in your career in that, you're always learning, you're always evolving those types of skills. And because
and if you get comfortable, your demo will fail.
Exactly. And you need to be able to think on your feet. And so those, especially, I used to do a lot more presenting way longer ago. I've pulled that up over the past couple of years as actually a moment in a area that in my career plan that I wanted to improve on, and I wanted to get back to that. But that's an area that I'm continuing to evolve and continue to learn. That would probably summarize a lot of the things that I think would make anyone kind of put you on that roadmap to, okay, this might be some area that you want to think of for your career plan.
So you touched on networking, which is one of our 3 pillars within Women in Power. So where in that space of it, do you feel like you've done a lot of work to get the right mentors, the right group around you? Like, what do you think is the strength that really defines a good network?
I think one, just taking an empathetic view of people, and I get pinged a lot of times, just different throughout the day on different topics. And
I've definitely pinged you.
But I think having the appreciation, like, this person's coming to me, with a question and a need, like, and I'm really trying to help especially when the field comes, what can I do to help and to hopefully make your life a little easier? That I think helps to build that network. Up with, I would say, engineering, with marketing, just having that give and take, understanding sometimes we might not always agree, but understanding the perspective that they're coming from has helped. I think the other thing, and I probably overdo it, but like communicating internally and making sure people are in alignment, and so there are no surprises. So if We have this MSR, this monthly sales review that we do. We report on different things, and there are many people that sit in that, and that goes up to the Jonathan Hunt's level, and making sure that there are no surprises. But I'm going to talk about enablement, like making sure that Ambu knows that I'm going to talk about enablement, and he doesn't get caught off guard. And I think that just helps strengthen. It's probably basic stuff, but it helps strengthen where it's like we're in this together. I want to make sure that we're progressing. Same with go to market, making sure Bruce McCoy doesn't get caught off guard by, oh, I'm going to say this. And I think that helps to just build the trust and the network. And then they introduce you to more and more people. I really do believe that helps. I think our business partners too are a fantastic outlet where we should be doing more. They have great networks. They have great customer relationships. They have fantastic thought leadership. And the more and more we can interface with our business partners as well, that I really feel treasured and very fortunate in the Power Platform Tour where we had business partner sponsors, because I got a firsthand look, how they have developed and delivered success with our customers, hearing great things from our customers about our partners and strengthening those relationships. So I think that has really helped me to hopefully broaden the network on the business partner front. And I hope to continue to do that with the tour and with the Power Platform Conference in the fall.
Amazing. So, and I definitely echo on the partner side too, because, it's a small world. And a lot of those people that are in the partner space have been in multiple partners. Their networks are like untouchable as far as just the web in which they can find the right person that can do that one thing. Okay, 2 more questions. One is, what is the best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice I've ever been given. That's a very good question.
It's a hard one.
It is a hard one. I would say, don't sweat the small stuff. And it sounds so trite, but so many times, you even if you're presenting and you mess up a word, or you you said something on a call, no one else is analyzing it. It's you who's analyzing it. And so get over yourself.
Oh yeah, at night.
It's it hits me, and I'm that. I mean, that's not the best piece of advice. I'm sure if I gave it some thought, I could come up with something better than that. But I think that especially, for women in power, and I think we talked a little bit about this even at the luncheon last year in Vegas, where it's we're our own worst enemy. A lot of times, and we had a whole discussion around imposter syndrome, and I think you take comfort in the fact that everyone's in the same boat. We're all doing the same thing, but we shouldn't. We waste so much energy psychoanalyzing and understanding, oh, I did this, what is everybody else going to think, and no one even remembers it. And so I think that if I could give advice to my younger self, I think I spent so much time worrying about that and what other people thought, and now I'm seeing that it's not important.
It's not the big picture.
Yeah.
So
it's not the big picture.
I love that. Okay. Last but not least, it kind of comes after the fact that you started the whole, or part of the whole trend with the action figures.
Yes.
Do you have a superpower? And if so, what is it?
Oh, I would say I can multitask the best of them. And I think my superpower probably would be, though, where you give me here's what needs to be done, and somehow my mind can just be here's the exact task list that needs to come off of.
I've seen it happen in life.
Yeah, and it's you can almost see it, the thought process, the smoke almost comes out, where it's I'm thinking, and it's just no, I've now architected almost your whole ChatGPT response of here's how you're going to get that done.
And what's the joke within the Power Platform space with your last name? Which
yes, I am not artificial general intelligence. Yes. And I just happen to have a very unique last name.
When someone throws you these huge complex things, you do go and you could just see the wheels are turning. I do disagree with your assessment on that one. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me and
a pleasure.
Sharing your awesomeness with everybody. Absolutely. Had a blast. We'll see you next month at the European Power Platform Conference in Vienna. And if you miss you there, we'll see you. Let's see, we've got the Vegas one. And then do you have any tours in fall before then, right?
We will. Yeah, they're not on the schedule yet, but we will definitely get those out soon.
Many opportunities to see you in person. Okay. Well, thank you again. I appreciate you joining.
Thank you for the opportunity. Anytime, Danielle. Take care.